Hi guys, welcome to the 5th episode of Pixel Flicks. I am your host, Brian, and with me is your other host.
I'm always waiting for you, Ryan. Hello. Sorry.
Just come on, man.
I'm always
You'll
waiting
get
for
it one.
you to go Ryan because you've done it one time and
No,
some.
I'm not saying our names together ever again. I refuse because I don't like it.
Ryan and
Yeah,
Brian.
back with the 5th episode. Just to talk about some movies and games as per. Again, and this was sort of, we'll talk about like movie and gaming news, but it's not really becoming that, is it? We're kind of just talking about like things that we're a little bit interested in, and our friends kindly keep giving us questions to answer, so we're going to talk about them instead of really touching on the latest news of movies and games. But we will talk about a wee bit of that sort of stuff. It's a terrible sentence, Brian. Well done. But before that, just how you doing? What you been up to? How's your weekend? How's your weekend been?
Weekend was alright. Just kids and family stuff. Had Brody out to his football on Saturday, and then took him to go and buy new football trainers because his nanny and granddad bought him like wee football boots, but like the moldies, so they're for like the Astro. But he plays indoors. They didn't realise this, so I went and bought him just a wee pair of like indoor football trainers for
Like
him to.
trainer type things? Yeah.
Aye, basically, aye. So, I did that. Played football, or let him kick a ball about, and yeah, just chilled. Just Sunday was a bit of yesterday was a bit of a mess with just kids being kids and poor life decisions and all that business. But aye, otherwise great. How was yours?
Yeah, not bad. I've forgotten what I've done on Saturday now. We did watch a couple of movies over the weekend, just at home. We didn't go to the cinema this week. And yesterday we were out for Amelia's little cousin. He turned 30. He turned 30 today, actually.
Oh, nice.
Um,
Happy birthday.
so, happy birthday, Josh. So he will never hear this. um, yeah, so there's a restaurant called Cubanas, and so we went there. They had like a buffet type thing, and just there for a few hours. But yeah, we watched a couple of films over the weekend. I think what I did on Saturday that wasn't just watching a film. There's no way I just went all day, and the only thing I did in the evening was watch a movie. So I can't remember that, which is really bad. I played a lot of PlayStation over the weekend as well, so I have.
Nice. Lucky you.
Lucky me indeed. Talking about PlayStation, Forza 5 is coming to PlayStation in April. How do you feel about that?
It's going to be good. I think I don't really know what there is racing game wise these days for the old PlayStation.
But I mean, Gran Turismo's the big one, isn't it? Gran Turismo 7 is the. I've not played it. I've never really, as much as I'm a PlayStation fanboy, Gran Turismo is not a game I've ever really played.
Well, yeah, that's like the PlayStation one, but I never really hear anybody talk about it. Like I think it's probably been Forza more than anything that I've probably heard been mentioned in the racing game spectrum. But I think we both play it at one point. Have a wee shot of
It plays a
Forza.
wee bit, yeah.
Seemed fun. Seemed quite interactive and um, quite good in terms of what it offers. So, yeah, it'd be a good addition to what's available to PlayStation, I suppose.
Yeah.
But I'm guessing it's maybe the bigger picture thing that you're wanting to discuss in relation to that.
Yeah, I mean, obviously Forza as well. I think it's huge that Forza's going to PlayStation 5. I think that means that, and I think we kind of felt this already, that there was nothing that wasn't on the table when it comes to Xbox as terms to moving to PlayStation or Switch or whatever other consoles that are available, or platforms that are available. But just Forza itself, I think Forza's great. I much prefer. The reason I prefer, I've only played Forza recently, and I have. When I say I've not played Gran Turismo, I've not played Gran Turismo since like maybe Gran Turismo 2 or 3 or whatever, way back in the day. I prefer an arcade type driving game as opposed to like one that's meant to be a little bit more set in realism. So Forza's great. I think it'll be massive on PlayStation. I think lots of people will jump on board. The only reason I don't play it more often is because it takes up so much space on my Xbox, and it's a game that I'd only dip in and out of, and so that's why it's not just readily available to me, because I've got it on Game Pass. But what I have played of it, I enjoyed. But yeah, I was just wondering, like, what do you think is coming next? Obviously, there's rumors of since this has been announced, there's been more rumors. There's rumors of a Gears of War trilogy, the first 3 games coming to PlayStation remastered day one, obviously, as well as coming to Xbox. Fable day one coming to PlayStation, which would be massive. A Halo coming to PlayStation as well, like the there's a remastered collection of Halo. I can't remember what it's called, but there's rumors of that coming to PlayStation as well. They just made me think, like, it's just a matter of when now and not if when it comes to games coming to PlayStation from Xbox.
Yeah.
Any games that you'd love to see? Because obviously you just have a PlayStation at the moment.
Yeah, well, I think I've mentioned before, I did have an Xbox. I think it was a 360 for a short time. And games that I would be interested in seeing come to PlayStation be Fable. I think I've mentioned before that I love that franchise, and the games that I played, I love the control you have over your character, and I like games that there's actions to consequences. Consequences to your actions. Yes, there's consequences to your actions. I like that those type of games. So Fable definitely is one that I was thinking straight away that'll be one that I would be interested in. I feel like if Halo makes its way over, that'll be like a big marker, or I don't quite know the phrase, but it'll be a big statement if Halo makes its way over, because that's always felt like an Xbox game that's been their big.
Yeah. I think when you think of all the old Xbox ads back in the day when they were just advertising the console, I remember the one with the Halo one with the like little toy figures. I don't know if you ever remember, and it was like a battle scene with all these like toy Halo figures.
Not
I
sure.
always just remember, like, I don't know why, I just loved that advert for some reason, and that's just coming from someone who's I'm not really that the biggest fan of first person shooter games, just because I'm terrible at them. The only thing with Halo is, like, I think 5 years ago, maybe a wee bit longer, it would have been massive. I don't think it's as massive anymore, just because it's not as beloved anymore as it once was. Like, the games have, from at least my understanding, aren't as good as they once were. Now, I played the first Halo just 2 or 3 years ago, because I never had an Xbox until the Series X. And the first Halo's good. I like it. I will play the second and third at some point, and fourth, and however many other there are. I don't think it's quite as popular, but I do get what you're saying though. Like, Halo is like, when you think of Xbox, you think of Halo, don't you? Mm-hmm. That's probably the first game that comes into my mind when you think of Xbox. Yeah. I'm sure Xbox fans have other games, Gears of War and Fable, like we've mentioned, are games that come into it. I think one of the things I thought you'd be excited about is the fact that Starfield's probably going to come to PlayStation at some point. And obviously you're a bit of a Bethesda fan.
Mm-hmm.
And so, like, I feel it just immensely, like when you liked Skyrim, didn't you?
Yeah, love Skyrim.
So, like, obviously when the Elder Scrolls 6 finally comes, like, whatever that's going to be called, it's probably going to be day one on PlayStation, isn't it?
Right, that would be very nice.
Starfield's still not on PlayStation. They're still not announced that. It's got to be coming. I just can't see them not putting that on PlayStation. I mean, just when you think of Bethesda games, they're sort of, before they went to Xbox, they were games that were everywhere. Like, Skyrim's on everything. I think like every console. Was it PlayStation 3 that was on originally?
I think so. Yeah, I think maybe.
And so, like, you think it's on three generations of PlayStation, and Xbox is on the Switch as well. I just can't see these games not coming to all platforms now.
Yeah, and I can't remember what it was you said exactly, but you mentioned like what I would like to see coming, and that was one I was thinking, like the Bethesda catalog. I feel like would be an easy win for them to get that stuff on there, because there's already the fan base on like PlayStation for that anyway. So yeah, definitely I would like to see that. Like to get a shot of those games, and yeah, it's quite an interesting move. I think we spoke about it in the Discord, like how to me it seems like they're just not bothering about console anymore. It's more about having a catalogue of games, or um, that seems to be the focus, as opposed to where the game lives. It's just how much of the game they can get out there.
Yeah, 100%. That it's they're just a third party studio, and I saw someone saying like that. I mean, it was worked for Sega. Like Sega's doing really well at the moment, especially like when you think of Atlas. Like I know you probably haven't played these games, but you think of the Persona games, and then last year Metaphor ReFantasia. Like those games are incredibly popular. They're great games as well, and so Xbox is just going to have a bunch of studios under them, and hopefully putting out good games, like solid games.
Yeah, but this is the point I think I was trying to make on in the Discord, was that I worry that if Xbox decide that they're just not going to make consoles anymore, and they're just going to be more interested in getting games out there, I worry then that that's going to affect the evolution of gaming, because you're only going to really have PlayStation or Sony out there as the kind of powerhouse for producing consoles. Obviously, you'll still have PCs, so there'll still be that competition. But again, I feel like sometimes they live in different zones.
I think
So
I think the console and PC is getting closer though, isn't it? And I think like even if you look at PlayStation's history in the last couple of years, like everything comes to PC now. Like so, even the PlayStation exclusives, so like God of War Ragnarok is on PC. Spider-Man 2 just went on PC this week. Final Fantasy 7 Rebirth, like they're all coming to PC now as well, aren't they?
yeah, did you see any of the stuff for the Spider-Man game on PC, and how
No.
it's like so bugged, and it was like Aunt May was in it, but she looks like a ghost basically. It's just some of it's quite badly bugged, so it's
But I
not.
mean, The Last of Us Part 2 was terrible as well when it went to PC at first, wasn't it? It wasn't.
Did it? What was it?
Wasn't the best. Yeah, Joel looked terrible. I'll send you a picture of Joel later. The way he looked. I know, but I mean, obviously there's Nintendo, and I know it's a different type of game that Nintendo provides, but they're not going anywhere. Nintendo are arguably the biggest out of all of them when it comes to selling consoles and games. Yeah, it's interesting. I get what you mean about the quality game, like, but if anything with Xbox, it looks like this year at least. Obviously, the games aren't out yet, so we don't know. But if you take the last game they released in 2024, which I've not played yet, Indiana Jones and the Great Circle, was received incredibly well. People like I think a few people said it should have probably. I don't know if it was released too late to be considered for the Game Awards. I don't know what the times are for those awards, but people are saying it's really good, both critically and by fans, which is probably more important than anything. And then they've got a massive slate. Like Avowed's out this month on the 18th, I think, and then they've got Outer Worlds, Fable, Gears of War, E-Day. They've got loads coming out this year. So it could be they've got South by Midnight. They've got such a big year, and it looks like Xbox could be in the best place in terms of games that are coming out for years. Like for I can't think of a year that Xbox had where I'm like, look at all these games they've got coming out. These are games I want to play. I guess the thing with PlayStation is, I think to me it's more concern for PlayStation in terms of they took their foot off the pedal a wee bit, which they kind of have with a whole mess. They've been a bit of a mess the last few years with this whole. But I don't think it's anything to do with Xbox. I think it's more to do with them chasing the live service thing that we spoke about the other week.
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
so, as yeah, it'll be interesting. I think Xbox have probably done the right thing though, in terms of chasing that just player count as opposed to the console. I think they'll always have a console. At least next generation they'll have a console. It'll be interesting to see what they do after that. But I think there will be a Xbox Platinum. I don't know what they're going to call the next one. It annoys me that they don't just have. I'm a simple guy, Ryan. Just give me 1, 2, 3, 4,
numbers.
5. Aye. Yeah, cool. Yeah, we'll move on to that then. And just before we tackle a couple of questions, did you watch the Sinners trailer?
I did indeed, yes.
What did you think?
Yeah, it looks good. I think the one I watched was the second trailer, and
Yeah, it was out like I think it was out like the day after we recorded last week's podcast, and there's going to be a trailer coming out the day after we do this podcast. It's what we really want to talk about, so we'll talk about that next week.
well, yeah, I did enjoy it. I think I didn't know much about it, and then you mentioned it on our most anticipated lists, I think.
Yeah.
And when you described what it was, I was like, immediately, I was like, oh, I'm quite interested in that now, because I quite like I kind of like when two genres or whatever, or two, genres like kind of mix, and so I'm looking
Yeah.
forward to that, like southern vampire story. So yeah, I did as you said. You told me to watch till the 2 minute mark, which I did do.
I think I should have told you to watch to a wee bit to like 1 minute 55 probably. I don't know if you saw. There's a bit. I feel the reason I told you to watch the 2 minute mark because I watched the full trailer. I think after 2 minutes it gets quite spoilery. The trailer. That would be my only criticism of it. I think it starts showing you quite a lot. So if you've not seen the trailer for Sinners and you're already interested in this film, I would recommend that you don't watch the second trailer just because I think it starts to give quite a bit away. Probably stuff that we could have figured out for ourselves anyway. Like it's probably not that difficult to work out that these things were going to happen. But I think it's a great trailer in the sense that it looks great, it sounds great. Like the music, which is not just doesn't seem to just be accompanying the trailer. It seems to be the music that's in the film. The performances look great, the direction looks great, but it's a bad trailer in the sense that I think it shows a bit too much.
Okay. I don't know if
Hopefully you didn't see any of that because that's why I told you to stop at 2 minutes.
I don't think I saw anything I wasn't expecting, or I didn't, or that I thought, or that I've spoiled that for myself. So maybe I've seen just enough. But no, I'm very excited for it now. I like Michael B. Jordan. I like Haley. Yeah, Haley Steinfeld. We actually we watched Black Panther yesterday. I think we'd spoken about it. I know, and you had mentioned obviously how good he is, or in that film, and he's just so good. He just like oozes charisma and oozes
it's aura is what the kids say in it. He's just got it's the obviously it looks like he's playing twins, doesn't it? I know that one of them said cousins. That I assume he's joking in that bit. Maybe he's not. Maybe they are cousins. They just look incredibly like each other. But there seems to be one of them that's quite like playful, and there's the other one that seems quite like I don't know, quite steadfast and focused. And that Michael B. Jordan is just like that. I'm all for that all the time. When he's so serious and so like just this steeliness about him. I think he's brilliant. And I think him and Coogler seem to be like a sort of perfect little match. I think obviously he's in Fruitvale Station with him. He's in the first Black Panther. He's in the second Black Panther as well, isn't he? And even that, he's only in it for 2 minutes and he's brilliant. Jack O'Connell looks great. There's a little bit with the strings that reminded me of Jordan Peele's Us. Just like the score for that, and just that's when you start to realise, oh, there's something a wee bit more sinister than just this is a wronging. That's when you start to realise there's a supernatural element to it all. really good.
Yeah.
And also, what was quite cool as well, this is his first thing on IMAX, Ryan Coogler's first film on IMAX. Apparently, he was like consulting with Christopher Nolan and Emma Thomas just to get some advice on how to, which is not a bad person to go to when you're making a movie on IMAX. So, yeah, really looking forward to it. And I think it's out in April, so there's not long to wait as well, which is nice.
Aye.
This will be definitely a cinema trip.
Yeah, I think me not having a Cineworld card now, like obviously I'll be going to the cinema a lot less, but I think this will be one I probably would make the time for to go and try and see.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm excited for it. I hope it's good.
Yep.
And also, like, I hope, like, talking about Michael B. Jordan, it's so funny that he's not as big a star. I feel like he should be a bigger star than he is.
Mm-hmm.
When you think of some people that are big stars, like, because he's genuinely brilliant.
Yeah, I feel like he was getting up to a point, and then I don't know. He's kind of disappeared for a wee bit because he was in the Creed movies, wasn't he? And he was obviously big through that. But I just feel like he's not quite went to that next level yet.
Yeah.
He probably can.
Yeah, he's really good. I really like him. Cool. So, I think we've got a couple of questions from Papa to answer, which is nice because it's nice just to like talk about random hate. One a question from Jack in the box as well, but the reason we've not decided to answer that this week is because like they were both touching on the negative, and we don't want to be too negative, so we'll go with one negative and then one sort of positive question. Papa's first question. Oh, I don't have it in front. Do you have it in front of you, Ryan? I don't. If you can read it, if you've got it there.
Do not. No.
Ugh.
I know, and because of the way I'm recording, I can't really change my screen at the moment.
Cool. I've got it here. Is there a worse sequel to a film than Pacific Rim 2, where the original could have been the start of a great franchise? Well, Ryan, is there?
I believe there's some contenders to be considered.
Do you know, I've not seen Pacific Rim all the way through.
Oh, no, Brian. I love Pacific Rim. It's so good.
Well, it's your man in it, Del Toro, like who is the monster man. So like, it's always going to be good. I think he won like 250 million or something like that to make the sequel. I don't think the first one made nearly enough money to justify that sort of budget for a sequel.
But I think the first one was a bit of a cult hit more than anything, because I remember I came to it quite late, and I was like, I remember watching it one day just because there was nothing else on or something, and I watched it and I was like, oh man, this film's amazing. Like, why is this like not done better? But there'll obviously be different reasons as to why it didn't. But no, one of the movies that will throw in the mix, kind of briefly mention, we weren't sure if we were going to be doing, if it's the second in a second movie, just because he's mentioned Pacific Rim 2. God, my words there.
You're right there.
But we'll just include sequels in general. So one of mine's, which I think is an absolute stinker, is Independence Day 2.
Not seen it.
No, don't see it.
It looked terrible. I'm not a big fan of that particular Hemsworth. What's his name?
Liam.
I'm not a big fan of him. It feels like classic nepotism. So it does. It feels like he's in stuff because his big brothers are in stuff.
Yeah.
I don't think he's, and so I wasn't that interested in it. So
the story in it was horrendous. The acting in it was horrendous, and there was too much nostalgia, too much grabbing at like things from the original film. That
it's funny though, because if you proper sat down and analysed the first Independence Day, you'd probably be like, this isn't a great film, but I love Independence Day.
Yeah, but like the first film knew what it was, whereas the second one
is a 90s action film.
Yeah, it's like riding on its coattails. It's it was, and I don't know. They tried introducing new aliens who were there to help us, because the ones that came for us in the first movie went for them in previous times or something. And Hemsworth's no great, Goldblum's no great. I can't remember who his sidekick is. I don't know if it was. I think I'm getting that film about the moon confused, where it was Samwell from Game of Thrones was like a wee sidekick guy in it. There's a
Oh, I know
sidekick.
what you're talking about with Thingy Wilson in it, isn't it? What's his name? Yeah, he's in Aquaman. He's in the horror films that Robo
Yes,
likes.
yes, I know what you're on about. Yeah, well, there's a wee sidekick person I'm sure in Independence Day 2 that's just the whole thing is a mess. And
It is.
aye, obviously I think they've got somebody playing Will Smith's on it as well. He's turned out
I
to
think
be.
I do remember. I think I do remember that.
So yeah, just all in all, just trying to play on the success of the first one and not doing a very good job of it, Brian. So don't see it.
Yeah,
I would recommend you not to see it.
it's not on the list. I don't have any intentions of. If I've not seen it at the cinema, I'm not going to see it now. Like there's some
Good.
films that there's a bunch of films like I'll only see them if it's at the cinema, and then once they're off it, then it's just like nah, it's never going to happen. My first one, I've got a few. I assume you've got a few as well. We'll share a few each. Is Wonder Woman 1984. Now, I loved the first Wonder Woman film. I know you're not quite as big on it as I am, but I think the first one's great. I really like the whole fish out of water stuff, and I think the chemistry between Gal Gadot and Pine is really good. Yeah, I just really like it. But the second one is an absolute train wreck.
Yeah.
It is terrible. It's got a really cool poster for the film, the second film, and that's as good as that film got. Was the first poster they released for it. No one's good in it. Even it's a lie. Chris Pine's good in it because Chris Pine's good in everything. Even my man Pedro Pascal isn't great in it, and I don't know if it's just the type of character they've asked him to play. It's quite. I know this is going to sound ridiculous because it's a comic book film, but it's quite comic booky in the bad sort of way, if that makes sense. So like,
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's trash. It's just a bad film.
Trash.
Yeah, I don't really have much more to say other than I really didn't enjoy it. I was really looking forward to it as well because, like I said, I'd really enjoyed the first Wonder Woman film. I thought it was, especially the first 2/3 of it. The third part, the third act, it gets to your classic sort of. It suffers a little bit the way that a lot of superhero films suffer, don't they? They don't know what to do, so they're like, let's just have a big fight, sort of thing that is a bit messy. And it's not the best thing to sort of look at. But yeah, I didn't enjoy it. I was disappointed by it. And now that universe doesn't exist anymore.
Yep. Gone forever. I don't think I actually saw that movie at all.
The second one.
Yeah, I saw the first and I did enjoy that. It was just like a lot of the DC stuff. It wasn't the same level for me as
Yeah.
Marvel at the time. But I did enjoy the first movie. But yeah, I never made it to see the second one, and I think I remember hearing just quite a lot of what you have just said about how most people felt about that sequel. It wasn't very good at all.
There's some really strange choices, like character choices, which were quite strange, and just like the story was very uninteresting. The villain was on it. Like both the villains were not of any interest at all. Yeah, not good. Another sequel, because I do have another superhero film, but I've got my next one is Quantum of Solace, which I
Yeah.
think is a terrible film. I'm not the biggest James Bond fan. I never have been. But I really enjoyed Casino Royale. I thought it was excellent. It might be my favourite James Bond film. I think it's great. And so it kind of got me excited about a franchise I'd never been excited about before. And I think I'd already liked Daniel Craig from like a few of the films that I'd seen him in before the James Bond stuff came out. And I remember going to see Quantum of Solace and just thinking, like, what a non-film. Like, nothing really happens, and this like really. Sorry, I'm just getting itchy eye here. There's this incredible scene in Quantum of Solace where they're all at. I don't know if it's the opera or a show or something like that. And somehow they're all wearing earpieces. I don't know why they've all got earpieces in, but they've all these villains that are here for this show or here for this. I can't even remember what it is. A presentation, something. They're all here for it, right? And obviously, Bond being Bond, and he's got, is it Q? I always want to call him Z, but it's Q in it.
Q, yeah.
Aye. He's got like, he's got an earpiece and he starts talking to them. And he's basically, I think he's like, oh, just you wait, I'm on to yous. Yous are all going down, sort of thing. And then nothing happens with that. Like, all those villains that are there, they never deal with that again.
Right.
And you're like, and then you think maybe they'll deal with it in the next film. No, nothing. Like, it's, I don't understand why. And I'm sure if there's a pure mad 007 fan can tell me what it was all about, but I thought it was shite.
Shite.
Aye, shite, man. Get it off my telly.
Yeah, I don't think I ever saw that either. I think I've maybe seen bits and pieces of it because
Boring. I feel like the Bond films are like that though. Like Daniel Craig's run to me is being like good film, bad film, good film, bad film, okay film.
yeah, I liked. So yeah, so for Casino Royale, that was like the film that kind of really reinvigorated the series and took obviously the Brosnan stuff and just made it feel a lot more real. Kind of done a Nolan on it with the Batman franchise.
Just, the opening scene in Casino Royale, one of the opening scenes when he's fighting in the bathroom and stuff like that, and it's just like feels really gritty and almost I think maybe a lot of a Jason Bourne influence on it at that particular time in sort of spy action films.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, Royale was amazing, but similar again. I think I'd never heard anything good about Quantum of Solace, and then Skyfall was amazing, and then
Skyfall's great.
Spectrum was it? It was absolutely Spectre was atrocious. I really did not enjoy that film at all.
Yeah.
That's a good shout. Yeah, good shout.
What else you got?
I will go for. I've got two, so I'll go Jaws 2. Was a significant drop off from Jaws 1. All subsequent ones as well, because I think there's about 5 Jaws movies, and all of them, as you might imagine, are pretty horrible. But yeah, Jaws 2 was one that came to mind. That
with the Jaws sequel, I've never seen any of the Jaws sequels. I've only seen Jaws. Do they make the mistake though in making it like I imagine this Jaws sequels are like lots of these monster films where they're just a bit silly and ridiculous. But the reason that Jaws is so good is it's about the characters. It's about the people. Like, the best stuff in Jaws is like, do you know the stuff when the 3 guys are on the boat and they're underneath in the cabin, they're drunk, they're singing songs. Like, that's all the stuff in Jaws that's incredible. It's the characters' names I've slipped my mind, but like the main character, it's him trying to like deal with this and like how does it impact his family and stuff like that. That's the stuff in Jaws that's makes it one of the best films ever made. Like, and so I can just imagine them with the sequels making it a bit like, let's make the shark even bigger, let's make it like more ridiculous and kill even more people. I just imagine it going down that sort of route.
Yeah, it's basically the shark becomes the main character.
And that's not forward. Like it.
No, that I think 3 turns into it's like the shark's kid comes after them or something like that, and it gets quite silly, as you can probably imagine. So yeah, I wanted to throw Jaws 2 in there because obviously the original is like one of the classics, or one of those ones that is a bullet point in movie history, I would say.
Yeah.
So
It is.
mention that. Another one that's from a franchise that I'll throw out there as well. I don't know if you've ever seen it. It's a horror, or it would fall into the horror category. Halloween 3, Season of the Witch.
Not sure. I've seen some of the Halloween films. I've seen the original, and I've seen like, was it Halloween? Was there one like Halloween 2000 or something like that? Was there one?
Yeah.
I think I've seen that where he gets like, does he get crushed by a truck or something, or a car? I can't remember.
I'm not too sure. But there's
there's a lot of bad horror movie sequels out there, so there is.
Well, this one's I would say special in that it's not got Michael Myers in it. It's nothing to do with the first two
Right.
Halloween movies, and it's like one of these weird ones where the studio were like, the director's name's totally slipped my head. No, it's gone. But they were like this after the success of the first one, they wanted more of these movies, and he basically said, "I'm only want to do one more," and they were like, "No, we want another two," and so they basically commissioned two movies, but he's like, "I'm only doing one." And so then they just went ahead and made a completely random third movie. So the third movie is basically about, I'm trying to remember who it is exactly, but somebody who wants to like kill everybody, and does this thing where sends out like pumpkin masks, and when you watch this specific program on Halloween, it like melts your head and turns your head into like worms and snakes and all kinds of horrible nonsense.
Wow.
And it's just a really random, weird departure from what people probably were expecting, and it's worth a watch just to see how different it is from the other Halloween movies. But yeah, I wanted to.
Sorry, you go.
No, I just wanted to throw that out there as a movie to consider.
I think it's so interesting, like the two films that you've mentioned there, Jaws and Halloween, because I think like one of the biggest mistakes that people do, like it feels like the industry does when they make sequels to films like Halloween and Jaws, is like they miss the point and why people loved those films in the first place. Like the first Halloween is like Michael isn't in it a massive amount, and he like there's a whole thing that he's in the asylum home as well, and he somehow manages to get out when is he getting transported in the car or something like that, if I remember correctly, and he somehow gets out, and then obviously Jamie Lee Curtis is she babysitting or is she at somebody else's house for the night when he comes?
Yeah.
It's just really good. It's such a great little horror, and obviously helped by that incredible score. Like I'm sure it's in all the Halloween films, but obviously you remember it from the. It's nice and short as well. It's like 90 minutes. It doesn't overstay its welcome. It's such a nice little tight little horror film.
Yeah, it is.
And he's not a supernatural thing. I think like, one of the things I saw, like he was getting like run over by trucks and stuff like that, and he was fine, and it just started to get a bit like, why can this guy like withstand all this sort of punishment?
Yeah, that's it. They always try and, because obviously they're trying to get more out of it, they always give you too much information, and one of the things is that you enjoy the mystique of these characters and not knowing why they are the way they are and everything.
Yeah. It's like and I've not put these on the list, and I'm not going to talk about it, but it's like I think of that with the John Wick sequels as well. Like I think one of that's so good about the first John Wick film is that, like, have you seen John Wick movies?
Yeah. I've seen the first two at least.
The Continental is so like mysterious, and it's like such a great idea, and like he's the boogeyman and all the rest of it. And then the more you get into the sequels and the more it's unravels, you're just like, they never really knew where they were going with this when they first started writing it. And it was actually just having the mystery of like, what is the Continental really? Why has it been set up as this hotel and all that? But yeah, they're not on my list because I think they're still, for me, the action in the John Wick films are still so good that they do enough for them to be all right. I'm not going to talk about them too much, but just two films that I quickly. Iron Man 2. I think it's not so much when I watched it, because I think I enjoyed it at the time. I was maybe just a bit too excited for another Iron Man film. But the more I watch Iron Man 2, the more I think this isn't this is actually, and I think it's Robert Downey Jr. is so good as Iron Man, is so good as Tony Stark that he's able to carry that film to
Yeah,
make to enjoy it at least. But actually, I don't think it's a good film. I
yeah,
think Whiplash in particular. I think Sam Rockwell in moments is really good, and his
yeah,
moments is a bit too far the other way, a bit too hammy. But I think we've spoke about this not on this pod, but previously about how like I think we maybe would have preferred Sam Rockwell just to be the main villain in that instead of Whiplash, because I think it's terrible in it.
yes,
And then the other ones is just the Hunger Games, the Mockingjay Part 1 and 2, are just oh, they're so bad.
yeah,
And for someone who thinks the first Hunger Game film is good, really enjoyed the second one. Now, to be fair to the people who made the films, I don't know if you've read the books. And that's how I feel about the books as well. I think the first one's good. I think the second one's great. I never finished the third book because I thought it was terrible. Like, I put it down halfway through, and I don't think I think the third films are really bad.
I really enjoyed the books, but
No, I can't get through the third one.
oh really?
That's like, yeah.
Did you read the books before the movies?
I watched Hunger Games first, and then Bryden was reading the books, and I think I made fun of him for it, and he was like, "No, they're really good. You should give them a read." And I was like, "All right." And I read the first one, and but just because it's like they're sort of teen novels, aren't they? You sort of like it's so easy to read, and you can fly through it. Really enjoyed the first one. Read the second one straight away, and enjoyed that more. I think the second one's the best out of. I like the arena for the second one with the whole clock thing, and B, I think the whole like it ends. It's so exciting the way it ends. Them breaking out of the arena, and you think like a revolution's coming, and I just think it's so disappointing by the time we get to the third parts 1 and 2. It should never been part 1 and 2 either.
Yeah, no, I've kind of torn on that. I think it was one of those decisions to just make money because
Yeah,
the
of course. Yeah.
second movie made was so good. But at the same time, I do kind of think some of it there was quite a lot to digest in that third book. But yeah, I still probably would have preferred just a singular big film instead of two different films. But yeah, they were quite the films were disappointing. I thought. See, I'd watched the first Hunger Games movie, Catching Fire. We saw it together. Maybe I'm not sure. I loved
Not
it.
sure.
Absolutely loved the second movie, and I was like,
Yeah, second one's great. It's really good.
because I didn't know anything about it as well. I was a bit blown away by like I think the twist or the turn in it. I was like, I didn't see coming at all, and them
Yeah.
getting out and everything. So I was like, after that, I was like, oh, I need to read these books, and so I read them, read the third book, and I was like excited for the third movie because of it. But I didn't. I don't know if maybe that was a mistake, maybe in my part, because then I knew what was coming for the third movie, and they didn't quite do it the way that I wanted them to do it. So I think I was a bit let down.
Yeah, fair dues.
That's a good shout. Yeah.
Cool. Well, Papa has another question for us, which is, what was your first console and what was your favourite game to play? I think we're just going to take this just a wee step further and just go through all our consoles that we've had and what games that we think of when we think of that console. Do you want to go first? Do you want me to go first?
I'll go first. The first, I don't know if it counts as a console, but consoles weren't really a thing when this computer was out. But the first one,
yeah, Ryan.
I know, the first one I had was a Commodore 64.
Let's see what I've got down as well.
You would stick a tape in, go and have your dinner, and come back, and it'd still be loading.
Still see those... like pink screen and a blue screen, and then you'd get like the screen that had all the different colours on it and stuff like that.
Aye.
I'd love it if we had the same game, because obviously games back then were so random as well. It wasn't like, like everyone knows what game's coming out this week and people play the same games. But I feel like back in Commodore 64 times, it was just like you just picked up any random crap that was in the shop.
Well, I've got 4 games on my list because I had like a big massive box and it was just filled with games.
Look at you.
I know. I'll run through them then. I'll run through the four I've got because they're the four that came in mind for different reasons. But I had Paperboy, I had Ghostbusters, I had Dizzy, the Egg, and I had Indiana Jones. I don't know if any of them at all are on your list.
No.
Oh my god, what did you
I
have?
feel like I have a like mine's just an obscure game that Paperboy, big shout, but I think a Game Boy. When I think of Paperboy, I think of the Game Boy. Like my brother had a Game Boy, which is so weird thinking back now that Alan had that because he doesn't play games. He hasn't played any video games probably since he stopped playing his Game Boy. But I used to play people in that. There's a Raider Rat Race is the game that I used to play, which is kind of just like a Pac-Man
Okay.
emulator type thing with like you're a mouse, you're chased by three rats. There's cats on the grid as well that you've got to avoid, and you've got to collect all the cheese. Like I remember being obsessed with that. And we had a snooker game as well. I don't know what it was called, but we had a snooker game that we played. Those were the two in our house. We had a is it Commando, like the Arnold Schwarzenegger film? We had one of them, but it always like you always got so far, and then the game was just like computer says no, and just wouldn't go any further than that section.
Do you
Look at
know?
you with the Indiana Jones, Ghostbusters, and all the rest of it, like
I well,
hitting the big.
the Indiana Jones I remember because me and my mum would play that. She was because Indiana Jones was quite big at the time, so I remember me and my mum playing that. Dizzy was just a random one. Dizzy's actually just reminded me of another one. I don't know if you had Trapdoor. Don't know if you had that game.
Is that the same as the cartoon I had? Like
Aye,
like the cartoons and like
yeah,
book, like I had like trapdoor books and stuff like that when I was wee, but I never had a game.
yeah. I had the Trapdoor game. Ghostbusters because obviously Ghostbusters were big at the time, and
Yeah, Ghostbusters the
um,
best.
it was quite cool going about, and you had to like go into like houses, and you had to find first the house that had the ghost in it, and then you go in and you had to like try and catch it. And it's quite a frustrating game from what I remember. And Paperboy's. So just and
Paperboy's great, man. Maybe we could get to the end and there was like like a bike park or something like that when you get to the end of the street and stuff or the end of the week.
yeah.
That's good. Nice, I like it. What was your next console after Commodore 64?
I've a Nintendo, just the original Nintendo.
What game? Mario.
Aye, Mario. Yeah, that's what I've got.
Yeah. I had the Master System, and it's Alex Kidd was the obviously pre-installed on the console when you got it. I remember my dad bringing it home. It's funny because when I last saw my dad, we were talking about it, and we remember it differently because he remembers us going to get it. Like I think me and my brother had, I don't know if it was Christmas money or birthday money because our birthdays are like 10 days apart, and we bought this console together. But I just remember my dad come. I feel like I remember him bringing it home, like hiding it in his jacket and then showing it to us. But obviously, I must be misremembering that because I'm sure he would remember that better than I would. But yeah, Alex Kidd played the life of that, and I bought Alex Kidd. They did a remaster of it for this. Well, I think for all the consoles, but I bought it on Switch. Solid, man.
I I had to
Like
go.
some of the games back then were so solid. I had to put when I played it on the Switch. I've not finished it, but when I put it on, I had to put it to like unlimited lives because I was just failing so badly at it. I was just like, I'm never going to get through this. I need to change it, and it's obviously rock paper scissors to the fight the bosses.
Nice. I eventually had a Master System. I think I swapped one of my later consoles. I'm pretty sure I swapped that for a Master System at one point with somebody.
Nice.
Um, nice.
My next console was Mega Drive or a Sega Mega CD, which sounds fancier than it was. I think it was just a Mega Drive that had a CD. You could put cartridges or CDs in. It was just the same games. But when I tell people that, like, oh, you're a Mega CD, and I was like, yeah, I think it's just the same as a Mega Drive.
Yeah.
I don't know if that was like what the Genesis was in America, because I think the Mega Drive and the Genesis are kind of the same console. I'm not sure.
Yeah,
Um,
I can't remember. I remember the Genesis being about, but I don't quite remember what it was, to be honest.
yeah, I'm not sure either. But the game that I played There was a couple of games. Italia 90 was one of them. I played that a lot, but the game that I was on all the time was Streets of Rage. I was obsessed with Streets of Rage when I was wee. It was one of my favorite games of all time. Played Streets of Rage 4 recently on the PlayStation, and it's great because it proper. You know when they redo something and it's exactly why you love the original. Like it's really good. It's just sort of the graphics are updated. It feels a little bit nicer in the hand, like the controls, but really good. Yeah, Mega Drive Streets of Rage was one of my favorite games of all time.
Nice. I think it was a Mega Drive 2 I had. That was sorry. Yeah, Mega Drive. Aye, sorry. I think it was a Mega Drive 2 I had, and but now you make me question if it was just a one. I'm not sure, but it was.
I didn't know there was more.
I'm sure there was a Sega
There
Mega
was a
Drive
Mega
2.
Drive too. Yeah, there was a Sega. Oh, so
Sure.
maybe that's what it is. Is the Sega Genesis? Oh, I don't know. I had the Sega Mega CD, whatever that is.
See, I do remember that being about, but I think that kind of ran adjacent to a Mega Drive 2, or again, I can't quite remember what one it was I had, but I'm sure
That's
it
what
was a.
that's what I had. It's like that.
Yeah, yeah, I do remember what that console
Um,
was.
I think they just played the same games though, didn't they? Like I
I
don't
think
think they
so.
play. Yeah.
Yeah, I think they did. So I had obviously Sonic was
Sorry, Sonic.
the
Of
big
course,
one.
Sonic 2 is the one that I remember. I played more of Sonic 2 than the first Sonic.
Mm-hmm. Do you know
I
what
played
game?
Sonic last year and finished it. I'd never finished it before. I played it
What, the
last year and
originals?
finished it. Yeah. Just the
Nice.
first one, the original. I've been trying to like play old platform games that I played when I was a kid and actually finish them because like when you're a kid, you play games over and over again, but you never actually get to the end of the game. So I've been trying to like go back and play some games.
Nice. Um, sorry, I think, see, when I got mine, I think I got it for Christmas, and I'm pretty sure Aladdin came with it and played the death.
Aladdin and Lion King are solid,
Mm-hmm.
like notoriously difficult games.
Yeah, like the magic carpet bit in the Aladdin game caused me all kinds of bother. Yeah,
So I'd like to go back and play Lion King because I used to play the Lion King game a lot, and I've just heard that they're like so tough, and I watched someone play it, and I was like skipping forward to see like, and I got quite far in it when I was a kid, so I'd like to see how well I'd do now because I'm sure I'd struggle because when you're a kid, you get more patience for it, don't you? Like. I
yeah.
feel like you've got more like that ability just to keep going and not get as frustrated by it.
Less distractions as well, and less things
Yeah,
to
that's
help
true.
you. Like you would have to buy a cheat guide or whatever, and buy like a book to tell you how to get through certain things, or there was like cheat things you could put in your
Cheat
computer. Do you
codes.
know? No,
Mind.
no codes. I'm sure like there was a, maybe I'm thinking of PlayStation, but there was like, I'm sure there was something you could put into your actual
Oh, I don't
console
know.
that would get you past stuff. I'm sure I remember something like that.
I don't know about
Aye, those were my games for the Mega Drive 2. Anyway, was Sonic and Aladdin that I can remember. Then after that, it feels like as I say, I'm sure it was the Mega Drive I swapped for Master System with somebody because I got bored of it, and
that. Master System was out before the Mega Drive.
yeah,
And
but
you
that's what
just
I'm saying. I think I got bored of the Mega Drive,
did
so I
this.
just swapped it with somebody. And then it was a big leap from there on to the PlayStation was, I think, my next console as far as I can remember.
That's what I've got. Yeah. What was your games on the PlayStation? The original.
I struggled to actually. There was only two, but it was because of probably stupid reasons. But Grand Theft Auto, the original Grand Theft Auto, played so much. Um,
So
I
did
think
you? So Grand Theft Auto original. I've tried to find a copy of that on PC so that I can play it because I've only played the demo, and I played that demo. Remember, you used to get PlayStation Magazine. And one of them came out demo Grand Theft Auto, and I played the life out of that demo, man. You could only play like 15 minutes, and I must have played that 15 minutes over and over again.
oh no, I
Like,
had my PlayStation, my dad had took to one of his friends who made it special.
I wasn't allowed to get my PlayStation chipped when I was a wee boy.
Yes. So, no, I had Grand Theft Auto, but then, do you know? Strangely, then I got Grand Theft Auto London, completed that in a day, and took it back the next day and got like a new game because completed it so quickly. Mortal Kombat, I'm pretty sure was the same as well. Completed that in a day and took it back and got a new game. So
Never played that. There's three
yeah.
games that stick out in my mind for the PlayStation. FIFA 98, my favourite FIFA game of all time. Road to the World Cup, loved it. You'd play the campaign as Scotland, and then you'd have to qualify to get to the World Cup. It was so good. Obviously, other countries are available, but Scotland was the one that I chose. Crash Bandicoot. We played Crash loads, and I think that one of the things I love about Crash is that we all played it. Like I would play it, my mum would play it, my dad would play it, like even my brother. Like so, it was quite a kind of like a family game, which was quite nice. And then Tomb Raider. And it's funny how the way your memory works, because I thought it was the original Tomb Raider that I played all the time when I was a kid, but it was Tomb Raider 3. Like I was sort of like looking at them and then looking at the parts of it, and it was like Tomb Raider. So Tomb Raider 3 is the one that I played. Those are the three games when I think of my PlayStation 1. There's obviously loads. Final Fantasy 7 is a part of it, but that I can't remember who had it. But it was a friend, and I want to say it was Bryden, but I feel like Final Fantasy is just not his type of thing. But then when you're a kid, do you play would you play things that you wouldn't play now as an adult sort of thing? But I definitely played someone's version of it. I don't know whose it was. It's specifically the Midgar section. PlayStation 2.
Well, before that, you've just reminded me actually because you said the FIFA 98. I had the N64 that I remember
Oh, nice.
had the World Cup one on that, and I remember putting all us in.
Aye. That was one of my favourite things to do is put all your pals in your game.
Yeah, and use like all the stats in the world, and then just win the World Cup all the time. So
I used to always sign Ba from AC Milan for whatever team I went. Played right mid for AC Milan, Nigerian guy. Just because like he had bleached blonde hair, and I thought it looked cool in the game. I mean, I think his stats were quite good as well, but like he's just like signing them all the time.
The Mario game on the 64 was good as well.
Yeah,
that was
it's one of the best. It's one of the. I think it's kind of like the Nintendo 60. The N64 is like is to Nintendo what the PlayStation 3 is to PlayStation. That jump in graphics, like from, and just the fact that like I remember I never had a Nintendo until I got the Switch, but just going around to a friend's house and seeing Mario in 3D kind of like blew my mind a wee bit, like
yeah,
because you're just so used to that sort of 2D. And like we had a Game Boy, so we played Mario obviously before, and played Mario at friends' houses as well. But I remember like being so jealous of people who had Mario 64. It was always something I wanted to have.
Yeah, it's good. But yeah, from there it was PS2 was the next one. Again, I was struggling to actually remember games, so maybe when you say a few, it'll jog my memory. But the only one I had was Pro Evo. That was the only one I could think of. I played so much Pro Evo.
Yeah, loads of Pro Evo.
Master
League.
Loads
of Pro Evo is definitely right. I remember me and my mate Matt at uni. Like we had like, do you know, like Pro Evo when you played in the same, like obviously in the same console together, you could keep score. It would tell you like your record against each other.
Yeah.
So we just had like that's like one point it's like 55, 54, like just for all the games we'd played against each other. Loved it. But the game is GTA San Andreas. I remember. I think this was still at a time where this was the first PlayStation 2 was the first console I bought for myself. I think I was about 19 when I bought it. I was working at the good old Excel. Hoggy had just bought one, and then I got a bit jealous. I was like, I want to buy a PlayStation 2 as well. It was a PlayStation 2 Slim, and I bought San Andreas, and it was the first game I ever finished.
Really?
I was quite bad for not finishing games. I played loads of games, but never finished them. Like, because I played Tomb Raider for an hour, but then I put Crash Bandicoot on, and then I put FIFA on, and then do you know what I mean? I couldn't just stick to a game, and then I thought it was one of the best games ever at that point of playing it. So definitely, when I think of my PlayStation 2, GTA San Andreas it comes to mind.
Yeah, yeah, it was amazing. And again, like kind of similar to what you mentioned about Mario was like a jump in the
Yeah,
GTA games
PlayStation
as well.
3 from two to three is a big jump. Oh,
Mm-hmm.
sorry, that's still PlayStation 2. Yes,
Yeah,
but you're right. It's probably it is
Vice.
graphically it is.
We had like Vice City, but
It's,
like I think the scale of San Andreas, like all the GTA games, obviously do that. Where the next one is like
yeah,
there is a fair progression, but yeah, it was
it's so
some.
funny because it's been ruined by memes. But before all these memes with San Andreas, like when I thought of San Andreas, like it was like 4K quality, like crisp images, and then when you go and look at it, and you're like, that's ruined. That's not how I remember it at all.
That's the thing though as well. Like just that's what I was going to mention is it still lives on in memes. Like it's one of those games that's
Yeah,
obviously stuck with people so much that
yeah.
the
Oh shit, here we go again. Like,
yeah the memes are very real with it. Um, yeah, I remember when I went to live in Australia for a very short time. Me, Vicky, and the guy we were staying with went and bought a PS2, and me and him just played Pro Evo 5. I think it was just like anytime we were because we were
Pro
unemployed.
Evo 4, 5, and 6 are just
Yeah,
peak Pro Evo, man.
Adriano. I can't remember. I think it
Aye.
was maybe 5. He was an absolute beast in it.
Pro Evo 46 is peak football simulation gaming. It's as good as it ever got, in my opinion.
Remember as well, we'd
Uh,
go round to Hoggies and we'd all like sit and just have a big tournament and like we'd all have tons at it. And
remember
I
we'd like pick teams and stuff, like we put
yeah,
teams in a hat and stuff like that, and like it's good, isn't it?
and like I still play Pro Evo controls. Like if I'm playing FIFA, I still play squares
Aye.
shoot and
I
circles
think Bryden
cross.
does as well. I don't. I just get. I'm quite. Uh, I'm quite strange in if I play a game and it's got different controls, I just adapt to what those controls are. I don't know why. Like, I just,
Yeah,
I
strange.
don't. I know it's quite. I think that's quite a. It's probably quite a unique thing in terms of like if so, like like in a lot of games, like you play PlayStation, square is your action button, like for opening boxes, whatever. If I play a game and it's circle, I won't like remap it. I'll just get used to it. And then the problem with that is then you go play like um I don't know. Like when you play Elden Ring, like I'm sure is your dodge button R1, and normally for most games it's circle, and then so you'll be playing Elden Ring, and then you'll jump to like another game, and you'll be trying to dodge, and you'll be pushing R1 instead of circle, like. But anyway, PlayStation 3. I think I know what you're going to say for PlayStation 3. You might have had an Xbox in it at this time as well. I don't know.
I'm trying to think now. PS3. For some reason I've not got a list of any consoles or games after this, but PS3. Well, Gran Turismo, that one, I think it was maybe 2. But mentioned that I'll just give that a quick shout because
There's
I
definitely a game you're not saying here that you were obsessed with.
the Modern Warfare's. I don't know if
Aye,
that's yeah.
Modern Warfare 4 or
I
Call of
remember
Duty 4. It would have been.
me, you, and Bryden playing. I don't know if the map was downtown, and it was like we said we are going to do pistols only, headshots only, and we played that for like ages, just running about trying to kill each other.
So I only played Call of Duty 4 at your house. I never had it. I
So
just remember playing it. You had this massive TV in your wee room.
I did that. I'm sure we
Uh,
played Modern Warfare 2, 1 or 2.
Modern Warfare 2, that's the game that's on my list is me, you, and Bryden playing that
Yeah,
like loads, but I never had Call of Duty 4. But Modern Warfare 2 is one of the two games that I associate with PlayStation 3. The other being Batman Arkham Asylum, pretty much just because it was. But we're now getting into a stage where I wasn't playing games. I was only playing Call of Duty or FIFA. Like at this point, and that was kind of my PlayStation 3 and PlayStation 4 sort of history of playing games. But Batman Arkham Asylum is a game that I picked up like when it kind of came out and played it from start to finish. Loved it. I actually played it again just the other year. I did a replay of it, and it still holds up. Such a great game, man. Just a great. So it's quite strange because it's like a Metroidvania game, but not in the same sort of not a 2D version. It's quite cool.
Nice. One again I'll mention just because we've already spoke about it a couple of times, but Grand Theft Auto Liberty City, and then
Vice City was on.
Right? No,
Vice City.
Liberty City, when it was Nikolai.
Oh yeah.
And then
yeah.
GTA 5.
Yeah, which is out on all the consoles now.
Still going strong. And then you mentioned another one as well, Skyrim. I'm pretty sure I did have that for PS3 as well.
Yeah.
That's...
There's obviously some big games come out on the PlayStation 3 but I never got to them until the very end of the PlayStation 4 era or probably on PlayStation 5 for a lot of them as well, actually. Like your Uncharted games, your Last of Us, like I never played them until late in the PS4 cycle.
I think I was the same for Last of Us. I was PS4 before I played that.
Cool.
But yeah, Xbox 360 as well, just because you mentioned it. I did have that for 6 months to a year, I can't remember. And as I mentioned, Fable, the Fable games were big games for me for that. And then Halo. Sorry, Halo 2. Sorry about those.
You were looking at me for a cue there. Like...
Sorry about those noises as well. Aye. Those were big games for me for the Xbox, but that was... My dad had an Xbox One or whatever the original Xbox was, and Fable. I played on that, but I bought the 360 and then sold it. But in that time I had it. Fable and Halo were big games for me in that cycle. And then PS4, which was Warzone. Probably Warzone was one of the biggest games I can remember playing on PS4.
Which is weird because that would have been like 2020 that you were playing it the last year of the PlayStation 4. I feel like I wasted my PlayStation 4. I never really played it that much. I like I said, when I got to PlayStation 3, I don't know if it was just like going to uni and starting to work full time that I just gaming. I just wasn't gaming really that much. I was playing FIFA. I was buying FIFA every year, not so much playing it. I was buying Call of Duty most years and Madden as well, and playing. These were the kind of games I was playing. So I wasn't playing it that much. So the reason there's two games I put on there, and now there's other games that were on that PlayStation 4 era that I prefer to these two games, but these are the ones that I played. Spider-Man, the 2018 one, I got that day one and I played it and I absolutely loved it. So like it was something that was able to like grab my attention. And then the game that got me back into gaming, like which I think was the second last game, PlayStation exclusive on the PlayStation 4 was Ghost of Tsushima. I remember pre-ordering this game came out whatever day this came out. I remember pre-ordering it an hour before midnight and just started playing it at midnight as soon as it released. Kind of just because like my mates at work had been speaking about it, and I was like, like when you get FOMO, you just like,
yeah,
which is kind of silly because I wasn't playing games that much at the time, so I don't know why I went and, like took the. But I'm glad I did because since then, I'm like, since that night, I've completed almost 100 games like in the last 4 years, like since playing Ghost of Tsushima. Like I say, like there's been more games come out for the PlayStation 4 that I've enjoyed more, like Nier Automata, which is obviously in all the consoles. The Last of Us Part 2, which would be more like God of War 2018, but I never played these games until God of War 2018 and then The Last of Us, which would have been PlayStation 3. Played them on PlayStation 4, but it would have been like between July and November when the PlayStation 5 came out, and then a lot of games, PlayStation 4 games, I've actually played whilst I've had my PlayStation 5, like, and not when they were on the PlayStation 4.
Nice, yeah. God of War was probably one. Fallout 4.
I
Maybe
bought
one's
Fallout 4 when day one when that came out for the PlayStation, and I couldn't find a bobby pin to open the door, and I gave up. And I lost my dog as well. It's just like, I don't know what I'm doing.
Poor dog meat.
It's just I was like, I have no idea what I'm doing, and I think like people, I think that's what people do sometimes when they try to get back into gaming. Is that sometimes you have to ease yourself in. Like jumping into something like Fallout is quite overwhelming if you've not played games for a while because there's so much going on. Like it's quite intimidating.
Yeah. I miss Fallout 4. I need that's a game that I'm close to platinum on, but it's because there's different endings. You need to do those different endings and it's like the branch, I suppose, that you need to take to do those different endings are kind of mid 2/3 of the way through the game. So you need to find a save point that's kind of appropriate to be able to then branch off and do those different ones.
Things that always put me off platinums though, because like I just think like I don't think you should have to play a game more than once to get the platinum. Like
then it's so much more earned, Brian. So much more earned.
Just it's like when you're like, oh, you can get the platinum, but you have to do New Game Plus. You have to play the game a second time to get it. Sure. And then the last generation, the most current generation, what we got for this?
PS5. For me, that's basically it. In PC, I suppose. PC games I do play every now and then, and I do enjoy my. Sometimes it is nice having a wee different style to playing in PS5, but PS5, I suppose, for me, it's weird. It's been Fortnite. It's probably like my most played game on PS5.
Yeah, probably my most played. I've got all the consoles. I've the Xbox. For Xbox, I've been trying to catch up and like I played Halo. I'm currently playing Gears of War. But there's a little game called Hi-Fi Rush which I absolutely loved. It's probably only about 20 hours. It's not a long game at all. By Tango Studios, and I think it's a great little game. It's on PlayStation now as well. I don't know if it's on Switch, but it's on PlayStation. Sort of this little rhythm action adventure game, centered around music. That it's a great game. I loved it. Switch. Mario Wonder. People will say Odyssey. I think Odyssey is the game when they talk about Switch, like sort of akin to Mario 64, and I liked Odyssey, but I actually preferred Mario Wonder. And then Breath of the Wild. I've not played Tears of the Kingdom, and I don't think I will. I think I got my Zelda fill with Breath of the Wild, and I really enjoyed it. But the thought of going into Tears of the Kingdom is just a bit overwhelming for me. I don't think I've got it in me. And then PlayStation 5, two single player games that come to mind. I do agree with you, like Fortnite. I think even Warzone to an extent as well. I think we were still playing Warzone when PlayStation 5 first came out. We were pals, but the two single players, I think you agree with the first one for me, is Elden Ring. I put so many hours into Elden Rings. And I know, is it out in PlayStation 4 as well? I don't know. I'm sure it will be. But for me, like that's the game when I think of my PlayStation 5. I've played it twice. I platinumed it. I think it's just one of the best games ever made. I played the DLC Erdtree as well, this year or last year even, which was brutal. It abused me, so it did. Brutal in the best kind of way. It was a great game, but it was very tough. And I think like I played it straight off the back. I'd played Elden Ring and finished it with the sole purpose of going straight into Erdtree after it, and it was quite a long journey, and it was quite. By the end, I was battered. And then another game that was out last year, Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. Loved it. One of my favorite games. My favorite cast of characters in any game. I love it. Like when you watch a film or anything, you just love hanging out with the characters in the film. And that's exactly how I feel about Final Fantasy VII. I just love. So like I did all the side quests. all the mini games I played them because I was just like I just wanted to spend more time in that world and with those characters. It's so good.
Nice. Yeah, definite big shouts for for Elden Ring there.
Yeah, love it. So good. I'll play. I will play again at some point. Like, it's just like one day I'll finally do like a magic build or like faith build or a intelligence build. But I just this having a big sword in my hand and hitting people in the face is just too appealing, man. Like getting right in about it. Cool. So quickly before we go, what have you been watching? What have you been playing?
Not been playing much. Rivals, probably just the usual. There's no fact saying that. Path of Exile. Sorry, still been playing that, and I'm going to have a shot at No Man's Sky again, just with the big update. So I want to check it out. It looks like there's a lot more depth to the game now. So yeah, I'm quite interested in seeing what's going on with that. So I'll probably play that tomorrow. During I'll fling up a stream, maybe. I think.
Nice.
And watching. I think I have watched a couple of things. I mentioned Black Panther, but one that probably is worth mentioning was a Real Pain. I watched that.
Oh, nice. How'd you like it?
Yeah, it was alright. Yeah, it was a nice film. I think Charlene enjoyed it more than me. She was saying, I didn't not enjoy it. It was just like a nice wee good film.
Yeah, it's good. Kieran Culkin's really good in it.
Yeah.
Obviously, sometimes you find him really charming, and other times you're just like, "Oh, you're such a dick, man!" Like, and obviously that's purposeful. Like you're meant to feel that way about him, and I like that. I like that it makes you have different emotions towards that particular character.
Yeah, like
I found some of the supporting cast a bit not great in it. I think that would be my only critique of that film. Some of the supporting cast, I thought it's just a bit meh. Didn't really. It's a thingy that's in it. Her from Dirty Dancing, Jennifer Garner, is it? No, that woman that's in the woman that's in the wee group that they go with.
Not Jennifer Garner. But I think I know who you're talking about. I can't remember that actress's name, but
no, what is her name?
Is that who that is? Dirty Dancing? Is it? I did not know that.
It is Jennifer Grey.
No, I didn't know that.
Yeah, that's who that is. Yeah.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah.
No, the guy who was the guide was annoying me a wee bit.
That's exactly who I was talking. That's who I was talking about.
He just dressed the same as well all the time, and that was annoying me. But yeah, Culkin was good. Eisenberg was just kind of much the
same. Like, kind of what you're used to. I did like his little scene in the restaurant when he sort of like starts to open up and talk about his frustrations and stuff like that. I thought that was quite a good scene.
Yeah, that was a good scene in general, because that's like one of those ones as well where you're talking about with Culkin, where he was being a bit of a dick, but there's obviously there's stuff going on there that Eisenberg's then went on to maybe allude to. So no, yeah, it was a nice film. Didn't cry, not even close to emotion, I would say.
I cried.
What bit? What did you cry at?
I cried at the bit where, and it wasn't. This is so sad. This is like I think this is just like like just getting older. Do you know the bit when they go to their grand's house and they put the pebbles down on the thingy? Do you know what it started making me think about? It started making me think about mom and dad, and like obviously I got up to see them in Scotland. This is so like midlife crisis sort of stuff. And you got up to see them. I started thinking like, oh, one day that'll be the last time I go to their house, and I won't even know it. Do you know what I mean? Like, and it just started making me think about all that stuff, and I started started crying. I cry at everything. Like, everything gets me, man. Like, it's just like find it really tough. Yes, I cried. But I mean, with that one, it was just like some tears. We Live in Time was that was sobbing. Like, but but that one was just like, do you know what I mean? I just started thinking about like, and I think then me and Amelia had a conversation afterwards as well, because obviously Amelia's kind of passed away during COVID, and like that was that whole thing. Like the last time we saw her gran, we didn't know that was the last time we were going to see her. Do you know what I mean? It was just like started thinking about all that sort of stuff. Like there's going to be a time when I go up to Scotland, like to my mum and dad's house, and it's the last time I'm going to be there, and I won't know it. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I'm just going to put a pebble down every time I go now.
Just in case. Your dad's like, Brian, what are you doing? Just in case.
My dad fell at the weekend, so he did.
Oh my God.
Proper hurt himself. Aye, like, and I think that's like your parents getting older. Like my dad, he fell down the stairs. He broke his wrist. He's got a wee bruised head, and he's obviously hurt his chest because he sounds terrible. I video called him on Friday night. It happened on Thursday into Friday. I video called. He phoned me on the Friday morning to let me know, but then I gave him a video call on Friday night, and I was making him laugh, and he was just like, "Don't make me laugh," because it was obviously hurting his chest. So it was a wee soul. Video games that I've played, Stellar Blade. I'm right into it now. I think I'm getting close to the end. Really enjoying it. Really good. Some of the costumes in it are ridiculous. Like I don't know. Like it's just I don't know. It's just for like wee pervy guys. I think because it's just. I'm not sure it's like it doesn't add anything to the game. Do you know what I mean? Like it's just such a some strange choices, but in general the game's really good. The combat's great. I'm enjoying the story and just in general the aesthetic of it. I quite like it. It's good, and so I'm enjoying that. And then I started Gears of War. I did my first playthrough, streamed it, put it up on YouTube. And so I'm hoping to do another one today. Actually, I don't know if I've got time for it, but I'd like to do another one today. Feeling that it will be Wednesday if I don't get one done today. Those are the two games I'm playing, and then obviously, if we're on together at any point, whatever game we play together, whether that be Marvel Rivals or Fortnite, or even if I jump on No Man's Sky with you, I would need to download it though onto my PlayStation because I don't have it on there. And then I watched at the weekend. I watched Amelia Perez, one of the worst films I've ever seen in my life. It's terrible. I have no idea how this has got 13 Oscar nominations. It is so bad. The acting, some of the supporting cast is terrible. Zoe Saldana's fine. The woman who plays the main character, the trans woman, I can't remember her name. Sorry, she's okay. She's fine. She plays the same character, but she plays two different versions of that character. In the movie, the music is awful. It's like they thought. It's like they were just like, should we just do a song here? Like the lyrics to the songs are terrible, and I don't know if it's I don't think it's a translation thing just because Amelia speaks Spanish and she's like, it's not. It's just bad. The story's terrible. The direction, it looks terrible. It looks so cheap and bad. I have no idea how this film is up for 13 Oscars. I really don't understand that at all. It's terrible.
Wonderful.
Yeah, I gave it 1 star. I thought it was awful. And then I watched another film yesterday, an anime film called Belle. I don't know if you've heard of it before. It's kind of like a retelling of Beauty and the Beast, and this time it's like there's an online app called You, and it's kind of like a little bit like not quite the same, but Ready Player One, but in terms of like you register and you sign up to You, and it sort of takes all your biometrics and it puts you into it, and it creates this avatar for you, and it's like the little girl Suzu or something like that she's called, which translated means Belle, which is her name in this world, this You world, and she's like a singer in there, and then there's another kid who is the Beast in there, sort of thing, and they sort of meet and they form a relationship, and what's good is it's not the same story. It's not a romantic story this time. It's kind of more of a story about like revealing your true identity, because obviously they're hidden by these avatars, and then also a story about like sort of helping save someone by being yourself. And one of the things I liked about it, there wasn't a romantic connection. It was, they went a different way with it. Music's good, visually it's stunning. I really would have liked to have seen this at the cinema. I think on a big giant screen. Especially the last 30 minutes of this film in particular was really good. But to flip that, the first half hour I thought was a wee bit slow. I was like, come on, let's get into this. Do you know when something's been hyped up and you first start watching it, you're like, you're struggling to see what the hype was about at first. But then once you get to the second half of the film, I think it was really good. I really enjoyed it.
Nice.
So that was cool.
Nice. Well,
and then
sorry, on you.
I was just gonna say, and then just like Gladiators and Great British Menu, just through the week and stuff like that.
I had Gladiators on for Sophie. I never watched it myself, but I'd flung it on because she's quite enjoying it being back on. Diamond is her favourite.
Nice. Not my favourite, but fair enough.
Well, just with the films and stuff we were talking about, we've definitely got all that stuff on our letterboxd, and I'll have that somewhere there or somewhere here, which was something mentioned we'll add in so we can see what we think of or how we've rated those things that we've spoke about.
Yeah, I've been trying to do more reviews on Letterboxd recently. Not writing Peace and War, but just some thoughts.
What about War and Peace?
That's what it is, isn't it? John Neely said War and Peace as well, and I'm more peace first kind of guy. I'm a peace first kind of guy, and then war, like if you need to, like, but just go with peace first. Anyway, I think, is that us?
I believe so. Yes, I would say so.
Please follow us on Twitter.
Don't sound too desperate, please.
Please. No, follow us on Twitter at PixelFlixPod. Follow us on TikTok at the same at PixelFlixPod. Please leave comments on the Spotify. That helps us. That would be cool. We'd appreciate that. And then I'm sure there's things I've forgotten, but we'll get there. Eventually, we'll start doing the sign off properly. But yeah, thanks for listening.
YouTube, so like us, subscribe.
Oh yeah, YouTube. Comments, all the rest of it. What's your first console? What was your favourite game? What sequels don't you like? Please let us know all that information in the comments, please. Bye. Bye.